You won't need it to stay warm. You're so afraid of my affections. You could drown in your own storm. There's no need for reservation. No one else can see. After some examination, man, I think that you've got what I need. It's really alright. It's really alright. It's really alright if you don't love me. What's that look of consternation? I'm completely in control. So if you're thinking of evasion, there's something you should know. Well, I wouldn't say I own you, but you're a lover without liberty. Which would you rather face, that cold-hearted landscape or me? What's that look of consternation? I'm completely in control. So if you're thinking of evasion, there's something you should know. Well, I wouldn't say I own you, but you're a lover without liberty. Which would you rather face, a cold-hearted landscape or me?
Okie dokie, we're back. I do like that song. We still have felting to go. Some of it's moving too slowly. No. I think it needs more. That is nice and lacy. Now there's one of those little metallic bits. Yep. You can still take it off. Hey. Some of the specialty fibers came with metallic bits. And not the kind of thing I want next to my skin. So I just don't want to get into the habit of using them. Yep. Did I dislodge you? I think I dislodged a little nip. Yeah. We have more. Coffee time. Yeah. Nothing more slippery than soap. Hot. Looks like one of my eyelashes. Any other samples of my DNA? Let's make sure not. I don't know what that is. Okay. Yep, there it is. The poor little nap. It got free. It's okay. Plenty of those trapped. I don't know where you came from, but we're taking you out. It's what we used to call schmutz. Some kind of schmutz. There we go. Don't even think of knitting together. Let's get these seams worked out. And now we see a little dye comes out. Interesting. Well, vinegar, which is in the final rinse of this, is a fixative for a lot of dyes. And when you have something of dubious quality and you're putting it in your washing machine, a little vinegar addition can help. If only I had known that before I turned my husband's t-shirts all pink. That's what first marriages are for. You make all your mistakes. Okay, let's bring it back to the right side with all the decorations. Now, I have learned that all the soap must be removed, and just with a vinegar rinse before you can put the starch on it. So that's going to be tonight's assignment. Everything, we've got 3 pieces now that are going to have to be 2 over the ones that they were made originally, and this one I haven't picked out a mold yet. We'll find something, because it's not going to work that way. I'll get all the shine back in the viscose and the sari silk. Glow. Okay. So I am going to bring the other piece over because I'm going to have to remove it and wash it along with this one. So, well, I'm going to hate having to wet that all down. Still a little damp. That is going to be an awesome gift for Monday. I am pleased, mostly. We did not finish healing the edges here. How embarrassing. It has a huge amount of soap in it. I just have to get my fingers a little wet or use some of the dampness here, and there we go. I'm just going to let that dry, and we'll see how far it falls overnight. Maybe I can get away with not having to use starch, in which case it's done. But right now it's still too wet, so we're going to put it back over the jar. I'm going to take some pictures of this before I destroy it in the water. Okay, so next, let's move over. So we will need more water is what we'll need if we're going to make another piece. What time is it? 4 o'clock. It's not too late. Let's put this somewhere. Okay, let's see now. All of my templates are back out. Oh yeah. My friend wants to make a pocketbook kind of a thing, big enough for like a pad. She wants it to have come to a point, and it'll just be a flap over instead of having to worry about buttons and those kinds of things. And that is actually like becoming my favorite style. So I don't know if I want to start making that template right now. Well, it's definitely bigger than that. Way bigger. That would be a pretty big vessel, wouldn't it? What do we have on the table? Oh yeah, we've got the chili we haven't used yet, and I've got a bunch of this. Okay, this time I want there to be some cool stuff on the inside and outside. Okay, glue it there. This is really coarse wool here. I would not want this wool against my body. That's for sure. I got a piece of straw. Down on the farm. A little something unexpected in there. Okay. And now, where's our weird stuff? And, there we go. Well, we did take a dump with that one, didn't we? I mean, I literally just dumped my depths. My little red dots. My neck might force me to quit early. So good. Oh my God, why am I drinking coffee? I forgot what time it was. I thought when I was cooking my dinner, a cup of coffee will go good with this. Well, we will not be finishing it. I will not be sleeping tonight. Stay there. My goodness. That silk gets everywhere. Right there. Well, it matches so fine. Okay. I'm going to need more water, I believe. But let's take a look. Cool. Okay. I have to go get some water. I will bring the water to the table. That'll be the easiest thing to do. And I'm going to get some carbs while I'm out there. I have to take a break. Had them around a while, but they're good till July. Mm. I hope I have more of this orange. It's really funny. I didn't foresee me using this color much at all. Excuse me, but you're going to have to replenish our supply. Hey, nips, relax. They're everywhere. Okay, I have to go dig out more wool. Okay, I hope I ordered more of this color. I did order a dark purple. I'm just not sure from which farm. leave some of that out. Oh, I love that color. Periwinkle. I need to order more periwinkle. Oh my goodness. But not right now. Nope, too pink. Let's see if we can find the right magenta. I hope, I hope, I hope, I hope. I think I'm not in luck. Dying. Well, I know I ordered a magenta, so that will be covered. But right now, I have an uh-oh. This color will go, but it's not the matching color to the other side. Hello, darling. Greetings. I just saw you come in. I'm having a color crisis. Like I did the first half. And I'm out of the color for the second half. No, I got some of it. Not enough. Well, I did one interesting, so... So my parents are fighting again, unless there's something shifting. In what way? Are you hearing the fights differently now? Oh, gotta make something with that color. No, out of orange. But I have chili. And that is the right color. Whoa. Whoa there. Calm down. Yep, you know, there was a point I thought 1 ounce of wool would last forever, but no. No, not even close. Wait a second, I can't read what you're writing yet. I have to sit down to be able to read. No, you're mistaken. Cleaning the house does not give a woman's life meaning just because she has had to do it her entire marriage. We do not get meaning from it. We get stressed out that we are the ones having to do it, and that no one else has the initiative to do it without her having to ask. But she was raised, on one hand, not to complain about that. It is a woman's duty to take care of the man and children, even if they're assholes. But after a while, you start to resent it. You start calling an asshole an asshole. So she fulfilled her duty in getting herself stressed out, but then berating you. Over what? No, I get it. Because my generation was brought up that way too. To get married at 15 and start having children as soon as you can manage that. My grandparents had an arranged marriage. It is not something you enjoy. It is something you're bred to do, like a workhorse. In this modern day, women are looking at more options and starting to feel, well, it started back in the 60s. It's like, hey, we do all of this work and we don't get paid. We don't get acknowledged. We have to do it all the time. We're the ones that have to take care of pretty much everything going on in the house. We do the shopping, the cooking, the following up on this and making the appointments. It doesn't give our lives meaning. It takes up our time, and it is our duty. That's not what gives life meaning, any more than you cleaning your room gives your life meaning. It's what you do as an adult. You keep your environment organized, orderly, and clean. We don't expect accolades for that. But as you have seen in the patriarchy, which you should learn more about, since you live in one, because she doesn't have the support somewhere along the line, even if it's a self-support, to do more, to get her ass out of the house and involved with a group again. She had people she was connecting with. What happened to that? All over? Cleaning the house is a way to get rid of frustration. It's not something that you love to do. Well, if she loves it, then she wouldn't be stressed about it. It gives you joy. You smile during it. You dance when you do it, like I do. Why do you think it even gets to that point where they think it's cool to complain about their job? They're complaining because they feel the complaint, but they don't know what else to do, and people ridicule them for expressing their feelings. You're a man, suck it up. Yeah, that's why it's called work. Your mom apparently has not been brought up for introspection and, like, if she was brought up in a way she loved, then why is she so much about, like, don't you go near my mother kind of a thing? No, I have to trust your judgment up to a point because you're actually there and you know your mother better than me. But I know as a woman, and this is global, women have been underappreciated, undervalued. We are the most abused segment of society. And here in this country, we're losing our rights every time we turn around. So why does anybody even have the fucking right to take our rights as if we're cattle instead of humans? You know what I mean? That's the mindset. 3 men who with no medical background could ban abortions, including in cases of rape, incest, and being underage. We have a draconian society, but it came from the roots of wanting to control everything. So what does she want you to do that you're not doing? I have a lot of women who live in this building who similarly did not know what to do with themselves after they retired or after their husbands died. If they were still raising their kids alone, they still went to work and they still took care of the kids. And that's exactly what society and themselves as mothers would do. But there was some where they had husbands that were kind of like, well, one of them, right now, there's a woman down there, she just got married again after, I don't know, she's 65. So she just got married. She married a yuck. She's going through cancer treatment with serious chemo. Kind of gonna sit there for 3 hours to take into your body. And what the hell is he doing? Smoking cigarettes and drinking. And I said something, not about him, didn't even know he was still around actually. I said something about, I don't know, I can't even remember what the comment was. It wasn't personal to her, but something about man doesn't take care of business, then I just get rid of him. I don't have time anymore to waste with men who can't empathize with what's going on for me as a female in this society right now, with all of it, just all of it. And that's when information popped up that I wasn't expecting. Yes, that's true. Well, that's also true. Depending on your motivation for having the children in the first place, that's where you've got women have that war with biology, because like flowers, we come into a point where the body wants to reproduce. It doesn't mean it's ready to reproduce. Like a cat going into heat at 5 months old, it should not get knocked up. It's bad for the cat, but it happens when it's out in the wild and they die young. Both of your parents have done their sacrificing for you, and that is true. I'm sorry that they have reached a point where they're arguing more and actually sitting down and discussing things calmly less. But as long as you recognize each one's contribution to your success and acknowledge that with them, you don't have to kiss their ass, but you do have to show that you get it and you're grateful. But like everyone, the problem is that society has kind of become so, or was structured, that you get a job, you stay in it for 20 years, you retire, you get a pension, and that doesn't exist anymore. Very, very few places, and more people are losing their jobs, but that is because they're being replaced foolishly by AI, which, by the way, that's going to turn around real fast, because for some reason they've just suddenly discovered that AI doesn't think for itself. What have I been saying? It's not conscious. It just is And an aggregator of information, it gathers whatever's there at the top of the list until you catch it and go, wait, look deeper. Oh dear. Well, I can see where you might be more interested in selling some of them. Show that you can do both ends of the business. You're young. We fuck up when we're young. That's what being young is for. So you make better choices in the future. You gotta be more careful with your money, especially if it's something you're earning yourself. Not counting birthday money. So, what can you do to help? Oh, that is true. That is a truism. I preach that all the time. You are responsible for making the decisions that create your life. And don't blame other people if you've made a decision you're now unhappy with, or just feel guilty if you don't do it. Parenthood is hard because you love your offspring most of the time. But people who live together a long time, their commitment, it's a commitment. The feeling of being in love and all that goes. And it comes back occasionally, but it's work to have a relationship that is functioning. It requires a lot of, sacrifice. A lot of saying, all right, I recognize this, and I know I can't expect anything different. I accept it. Acceptance is not a bad thing. At least you know where you're starting. Because it's for our own peace. It's for our own peace. How much do we want to carry, you know? But like I said, you're still a very young person. You're still just having the first experiences of things. There's still a lot of firsts and a lot of thought. And some things you cannot come to any kind of real conclusion about because you haven't had enough experience to do that. You don't have enough basis for comparison. So you have to live your life more. So things that you conclude right now may be right for right this minute, but 10 years down the road, you're going to have completely different conclusions. And that's not a bad thing. That's just life. But that's why we also have to let go of things. Exactly. Reconciliation with oneself is, I don't know about that. I don't even think like that anymore. But again, I'm in a different place. I have a completely different headset. I'm a woman in a different country, for one thing. And I've never met your parents, but I do know a lot of generalities. I have actually read books on getting people back together as a marriage counselor. But no, I never took any kind of thing to say you're a marriage counselor. As an interfaith minister, I read books on how one counsels a couple going through shit. Because life has a lot of shit in it. And all we can do is try not to step in it as much as things tend to throw us that direction. Okay, a lot of anger there. Anger is still, you don't want to stay there. It's not a bad emotion. It's a step up from feeling depressed or powerless. And my guess is if you were feeling that strong an emotion, you were probably feeling powerless. And I have, oh honey, you have lots of potential. I hate to keep using myself as an example, but I really can't use other people because I don't have their experiences. I had my first gallery showing of just my work at age 70. The only person who can fuck up your future is you by giving up on yourself. Time and tide always changes. Everything is always in flux. Nothing is solid. Nothing is meant to be solid because it's always about moving forward. And the minute we get too comfortable, we get ejected from the passenger seat, you know? It's kind of like the keep you on your toes, because if you get too comfortable, you're not creating anymore. You're not demanding from the universe. You're getting boring. The universe doesn't like boring. Your parents do not understand you any more than I can understand you. I mean, I can understand aspects of you, Charlie, but you're not my son. And you're an individual, and you're growing, and you're expanding, and I can see your brilliance, and I can see your inner star. But the only one who can fulfill your any future is you. You are the one that's going to have to be responsible for you. And if you let other people tell you what to do, I mean, look, I didn't want to be on the street young, but on the other hand, it made me think about things I didn't have to think about before. There's nothing like getting a menial labor job to make you wonder, what can I learn in school? I did not want to really become a dental assistant, but I went to school for it because, well, actually, I had a good job in a factory, but then I had my back surgery and I had to quit. You're going to look back at this time and be grateful for the lessons you don't even realize you're learning. We make life extremely complicated. You aren't your thoughts. You aren't your struggles. You are, to be blunt, a cosmic being who is currently incorporated in a physical body to enjoy being here. And when you look out through your eyes, that's the universe behind your eyes looking out. And if you chill out and let the universe look through your eyes, and just relax and ask for the guidance you need in anything, it'll arise. You'll feel it. But it has to come from within. It can't come from parents or teachers or anybody. It's an inner being work. It's like that for all of us. And when we don't do that, when we instead succumb to the society's pressures, the problem with it is we're suppressing what our natural inner being is trying to guide us toward. It doesn't mean you won't be happy, but you'll be happier if you learn to listen to who you really are. Now, I'm one of those people that sees both sides of the story. I can't help it. That is literally how my brain is made. 50-50. So I always see the bigger picture. And honing in on the details gets a little bit more, I need more focus for that. Well, be honest with yourself. If you don't feel like talking, then don't. You maybe not have anything right to say at the moment. Speak when you're inspired to speak, and then speak your truth. But you have to be prepared to be out in the street and taking care of yourself, because some decisions lead us to that. I didn't intend it to happen to me. I'm not saying that should happen to you. I'm just saying that your perspective is still very limited because of your youth and going to school and all that. And you got some really good experience, but there's so much more. Well, the only way you can do that is by being on your own. So long as you're living there, you're going to be subject to their rules, their moods, and all that. So you've got to decide. And I said, I'm not telling you what you should do. I'm just saying, when you decide on something you want to do, you find a way. That's true, but it's not your job to change them. Relieve yourself of that responsibility. If they're unhappy, if they screw up, it's not your responsibility. You can't fix them. It's not your job. And you would have to be much older than them to be able to be heard when it comes to those things. They're brought up in a very traditional way where they're only going to respect certain kinds of things. Because you're a child to them, you will never have the respect that a stranger will give you. Well, you don't know where to go yet, that's all. That's what I'm saying is if you need to learn to tune into yourself so that you can take inspired action. Never act unless you're inspired to. When you push it, when you force it, you make wrong choices. Or even though nothing is really wrong, make less pleasant. Things can go easier for you if you are more aware of what kinds of choices you're making. Oh, there's a nap. Okay. Let's see if we can work some soap into here. And, oh, wait a second. We have the bottom to fix here. I think I'm going to leave the sides fuzzy. Let them knit. That could be kind of a cool effect. Why don't we try it? Well, you will definitely find intellectual stimulation at a university. You know that for a fact. That's not even guesswork. And even outside the class, you know, there's all kinds of activities that are going to be interesting to you. Chess club, music. If I were you, I'd get involved with theater. Of course, that's me. The reason I think of theater is because with your good looks and your wit and your talents and you're not sure what you want to do this, you could come in very handy and useful in any theater club. I prefer that only by being lucky and finding. Yeah, that's too bad. But being around people who are seeking some kind of learning. Now, when I was college age, put it that way, I had friends who did go ahead and go to college, and I met them outside of school when I was on my own, and they were in school. And I got to see them when they were home on vacation, because I stayed in Yonkers and they went to universities all over New York. And I'd go to visit them on their campuses, and they would visit me off campus. And I loved the fact that 2 out of 3 of them became professional students. They loved school so much, and they couldn't decide what they wanted to do. I mean, one guy, I could totally understand. He went and he got 4 years in, and instead of graduating, he went and took some more courses because his future was taking over his father's vacuum cleaner repair business, sales and repairs. And with all that college education, yes, he got business and all that under his belt, but he did not want to take over the business. Just like my mother got into real estate, built her business with the hope that one of the 4 daughters, would take over her business. And all of us hated it, so none of us would do it. So, you know, that's true. The idea is to give you background, not actually tell you how to think. But learning critical thinking is pretty critical because we have too many people in this world who, oh God. Well, at least 30% of our country can't tell the difference in how you spell the word shining. They see shinning and they still see it as shining. I'm referring to a GIF I saw on May 1st. You need friends. You need friendships. And yes, there's only way you're going to develop it is by being around people where you have exposure to them, because friendship is not something that happens instantly. Friendship is born of mutual interests. It's what gets you together in the first place, something to talk about. And going to a class, obviously, if you're in the same class voluntarily, there's an assumption that you both kind of like that subject. And isn't that groovy? You like competition? I'm actually a fairly competitive person, and I did not know that most of my life. I mean, seriously, I didn't know it. I thought I was a I don't give a shit person when it came to winning, because I used to throw games all the time to make sure that my husband would keep playing. He'd get frustrated if I won too much. I'm going to have to fold this over after all because it's not binding there, and we need to be nice strong seams when I start messing around with it. Yeah, don't do that. Come back. Yeah, you need that. Especially, like I said, when you're young. I was really, my stepdad, right? He was a judge, all this. He was so involved. And his world was books and escaping into reading while listening to some kind of music, usually some kind of classical music. And he loved that life, and that was something he was very content with. And that suited my mother fine because she didn't really have all that much to say. But here he is in a nursing home. And I don't think this is something that he imagined was going to be the end of life scenario. He might not have even imagined what it was like to live past 93, 94, 95. And you end up going, am I ever going to die? He's not looking forward to death, but he's also not really living because he's around boring people. We had a little talk. Most of the people in the same nursing home are beyond conversations of the kind that he likes to enjoy. They're not reading books like he is still reading. At least he's still reading. But now he's like, life is watching television, I guess, and being a spectator. And I just never expected him to be the spectator type. That is really light. But I am completely out of orange, all shades of orange, and all I've got is this. Little flame of this, kind of like a little bit. Well, we'll find out. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Oops. Oh, we have plenty of soap now. I have soap jelly here, which is what hard milled soap does. Actually, it turns to jelly before it turns into a cured hard soap. Ah, what you're doing? Oh, I see. It doubled up on me. There we go. Yeah, that stinks. At least mine. Yeah, mine would argue loudly. And after a bunch of fuck yous, go fuck yourselves, and door slams, they made up. That's the point, exactly. You will never be them. And they have certainly not done anything as examples to make you want to be like them. Well, you'll know when the time comes, honey. You can't see or plan your life out too far in advance because you need room to wiggle and change, because the world is changing, and the world is changing way faster than it did when I was your age. There was a sense of stability in the world when I was your age. So it's quite different now. Even with the Vietnam War going on, we came from overall stable backgrounds. No matter what was going on in the dirty underbelly, on the surface, it was all la la land, you know? It's the one you have to develop for yourself. I had 4 parents, believe me, I got 4 examples, and none of them were ones that I wanted to be just like them. They all have their pros and cons, and a lot of cons. So I learned what I wanted to be as much by what I didn't want to be as anything else. You go around in the world, you meet people, look, I wanted to be like Madame Curie. She was my idol. And Nellie Bly, another idol. I wanted to be a writer like Nellie Bly and adventurous like her. And I got the idea from Nellie Bly that I could do frickin' anything I wanted to, no matter what the rest of the world kept saying. So I got encouragement through the books, through the biographies of people who did things I respected. The whole #1 reason I wanted to get into science, aside from actually having a very big interest in it, was reading the biography of Madame Curie, or Madame and Pierre Curie. I thought, how wonderful. And actually, because of that husband-wife team working together, I think that kind of ingrained me with the idea that I should marry somebody I could work with, because I certainly did want to always work with my mates, usually in something artistic, but I wanted to be married to my partner so that we could enthusiastically throw ourselves into all of those creations. The only thing they wanted to throw themselves into was bicycle riding. So it didn't work out. It's as rare as you, but we're actually doing that whether we are aware of it or not. Our every thought is helping create the vibration of what's going to open up opportunities. If you believe that you are a valuable person, if you believe you're worthy of success, as soon as you're inspired to do something, I mean, look, I have been inspired and knew at the same time, like, this is great and I could enjoy that, and I could probably turn this into a business, but you know what? I don't like it enough. I like it right now, but I don't think I'm going to like it 10 years from now. And if I'm going to go through the effort of starting a business, I damn well better like it 10 years from now. That's not true anymore. Nowadays, things are moving so fast, I'd go for 5 years. Well, honey, why are you trying to believe in anything but yourself? What you can do as you gain insights and experiences, you're an evolving being. You're not stuck in this teenage turning into, double digits and twos. It's you're not just that, you are an eternal being having an adventure, but unfortunately these adventures start with being human and young humans, and we're fucking slow. So you are stuck with that, but then things start to accelerate, and when you start to understand your real power of focus, and then chilling, allowing the processes to happen, allowing things to come to you, it suddenly looks like you're doing magic, and nobody will understand why things are working out for you the way they are. They've been trying for years, and you just walked in there and they just liked you right off the bat. What was that? Oh, it doesn't sound all that boring. I'm glad it wasn't more traumatic. Sounds like you've already got enough agitation in the air. Your older brother is significantly older than you know, which separates you in knowledge bases. He went right for the chicks, and we know where you're at with that. So, you know, these are opportunities that just weren't there for you because of the practical nature of just being who you are. Space is something you have to get out there to experience. Don't worry. It happens to everyone. I remember, well, let's just say I remember. Uh, Again, I'm not suggesting that you seek a hedonistic lifestyle, but you do need to give yourself a little bit more permission just to explore and enjoy what's around. But you haven't had that kind of freedom just because of your age. I mean, it's just because of your age. You don't have a lot of exposure to things, and you know, don't worry, you'll catch up. Out there where? Well, it makes me think of a fairy tale that, I don't know if it was a fairy tale or a parable, but I'll tell it to you just because you're sitting there. Once upon a time, there was a king with a spoiled son. The son, though, was wasting away. No matter what he was offered to eat, he just would not eat it. He refused everything. Nothing tasted good to him. The king was in despair. He was looking like he was going to lose his only heir to starvation. So he had this big contest all through the kingdom. You get my son to have an appetite, I'll give you my daughter's hand in marriage and half my kingdom. And people, of course, lined up to get the kid to eat. They tried everything you can imagine. But the kid was still like, ew, I don't want that, father. And father would go, please, son, we need you to eat. If you die, who's going to take over the kingdom when I die? And finally, after running out of all the knights and other princes and even another king, magicians and sorcerers and witches, oh, none of them could figure out what is this kid going to eat. Finally, in desperation, the king agreed to let the very last person have a crack at it. The very last person was a woodcutter. And he said, This is the deal. I take the kid into the woods with me. You don't follow me. I don't tell you what I'm doing, but don't worry, he'll come back A-okay. And the king is kind of like, well, just don't you be naughty, okay? And so the kid goes off very reluctantly. It's like, Father, how can I sleep in something not my cozy down bed and my specially embroidered pillows? And the father said, do you know how much money we've spent in hiring all these people to try to feed you? Go. So he goes. And the guy is like, he's a smart man. No, he's not thinking anything perverse with the young man. He says, okay, around here you got to earn your keep. Before you eat, you got to work. And he gave him a hatchet and taught him how to cut wood. And he spent the entire damn day chopping wood until he had blisters on his hands. And he was hungry at the end of the day. And he sat down waiting to see, give me the feast, because, man, I am starving. And he's ready to eat anything. And the woodcutter came out and said, here you go. Piece of burnt bread. And the young man was like, what? I was expecting a feast, a royal feast for the royal prince. No, no, no. This is all we have is a crust of burnt bread. It's that or nothing. Well, the prince picked it up, like, and crunched it down and went, oh, this is the best thing I've ever eaten. And he ate all of it. And finally he was cured. There is a much cruder version of that story, but I'll spare you. I like the one I learned as a child. Sometimes you just have to get out there and get your hands dirty, kiddo. You learn a lot from that. You learn a lot taking a job as a dishwasher in a restaurant. Or waiting on tables. And it's not something to aspire to. I want to grow up and wait on tables. Although I know some people in good restaurants make a lot of money. In general, it is just the life lessons you get. The things you learn along the way. And the attitudes you didn't even know you had that start to break and change. You can get the whole piece of the burnt bread if you work for it. You don't have an appetite right now. So, you know, there's nothing to get excited about. Just like the little prince didn't get excited about anything. He was being spoiled. He had everything he needed. So he didn't even have to think his way out of a paper bag. But he didn't want it because it was like always there. It was the same thing for him all over every day. Excellent. Hey, one step at a time. So it sounds like you are making progress and you are doing something that's going to be beneficial in the future. So you're not inactive. It's not the spiciest thing you could be doing right now, that's all. But you don't need spicy right now. You need some practical stuff. Because you have decisions to make. And they're not going to be the most fun decisions. Oh, well, driving will definitely be important. It'll be a lot easier to get any kind of work once you have a car. direct? No. Keep that plastic on it. Move to the smooth side. Do you have trouble relaxing? Well, you took a walk today with your dog. That's a good thing. Right now, if I were you, I would be getting out every nice day, walking that dog, looking around, and just letting yourself be. You've got plenty of stuff to do, and it's coming up too, so no undue pressure. That's like distracting. You can't focus if you're distracting yourself that way. I mean, I would just say go talk to your parents when they get out of hand, but we've been through this before. This is how they handle their stress. They fight, and they take it out on you. That's okay. Meditation only has to be a few minutes in the morning and a few minutes at night. That's just you getting still and thinking lovely thoughts. Don't lay down with ugly thoughts in your head, and if you get ugly thoughts, then go get back up for a minute and watch some silly, stupid animal video, and then think happy thoughts and how nice your pillow feels, and gone. You'll be fine. But meditation does not have to be, and really, if you have a specific goal, like you want to do deep healing and you're trying to connect really on a deep level, then you're talking hours of meditation like a monk. But that's not what you came here to do. We came here to live our lives, and even if we think we're fucking up, we're still here to do that rather than to sit there going, Om. Yes, it's important to do that, but you don't need to do more than, at the max, 20-25 minutes at a time. So if you're doing more than that, get off your ass and get busy. It's just supposed to be a break for your brain, not something that is going to take you to heaven every time. When you wake up in the morning, after you do your first pee, go back to bed for just like 5 minutes and envision something nice. It doesn't have to be creating your future, just something pleasant. Remembering a picnic in the country or particularly a nice sunset. It doesn't matter, as long as it's something that makes you smile, laying there with your eyes closed. And then get up, and congratulations, you succeeded in having a good meditation. People make way too much of a deal about it. It is important, but the question, of course, is what are you using it for? What do you think it's going to do for you? And, you know, I used to use visualizations, but I also learned the brain gets tired of these things, so you have to change them up. Like, we used to do this golden rope meditation, and people love that. And it's a good one. It helps with self-confidence, and you generally feel a little uplifted after it. But if you do it too much, it loses its effectiveness. You need to come up with another exercise of your mind, and another and another. So one method is, or one vision is not going to work all of the time or for all your life. One of the best ones, though, and it changes, is to just spend a couple minutes imagining the perfect day or the perfect place, a sanctuary. Like on Namaris, my sanctuary is gazebo. It's an island and it's actual gazebo. So I have a place I could go, but sometimes I go to the backwoods I had down on the farm in North Carolina. There was a branch that I used to love to stand in the dappled sunlight watching the creek. And it was just a wonderful feeling back there. So when I want to just chill out, I can just close my eyes. I don't even have to close my eyes, really. I can see it in front of me. And it was a very real place, and I saw it for 17 years. So it's part of me now. And I can think of it, and I can detach that from anything else that was going on in that time period. And I'm alone, and it's beautiful. There's squirrels, there's dogs, there's even a cat. My space. And you just spend a minute doing that, and man, it just resets you. Oh, that's a nice one. I like that. Well, you can imagine that. And there's no reason why that can't actually happen. But in the meantime, that's a good visual. And when you go there for a minute, like I said, don't try and make it real. Don't stay there long, but do go there. Enjoy a minute or two, and then come back. I hope so. Or something else that will give you the same kind of a wonderful feeling. It's the feeling that you're after. Now this may end up having to be needle felted in. It's not really wanting to felt. Probably need a little warmer water. But we're going to retire this for the night, because I have two other pieces that need to be washed, soaked, and set up for tomorrow. Excuse me. Well, you don't have to be after anything. Just be open to experiences, and they'll occur. Well, hold on a second. Because postnasal drip got me. So it's time for me to go too. Yep, definitely been here 2 hours. It's time. So my darling, thank you for hanging out with me and listening to me go on and on like a grandma. So, sweet dreams be yours, dear, if dreams there be. I'll be back tomorrow after 3. I have a doctor appointment tomorrow, so I'll be back after. In the meantime, have a good evening. Think happy thoughts. Let them set your emotional temperature before you go to sleep.